So good morning everyone and welcome to your session on how the careers are impacted in data science in the post COVID era. I am Akash and I lead the marketing at Digital Vidya. First of all guys, I really welcome all of you guys who have taken out time for today's session and are attending the session, and I really hope that all the people who are attending, they are safe, they are healthy, and they're doing fine whatever the places they are. I want to welcome you, all of you guys again. First of all, before we quickly move ahead, before I introduce Digital Vidya, NASCOM Future Skills, and today's topic, and Shekhar Avasti, who's going to lead the entire webinar for us today, I want to check the logistics with all of you guys. And how we're going to do that there is a questions or a chat panel on the right hand side of the screen. So now if you can see our screen, if my webcam is visible and I am completely audible to you guys, what you need to do is you need to type in yes in that chat box panel. So if you are attending this session from a desktop device, it should ideally be on the right hand side of the screen. And if you're attending this session from a mobile device, you will have a question mark on the top, which you just need to click on it and it will take you to the chat panel. So there you just need to type in yes, so that I should be aware of, that yes, all the logistics are fit and we are good to go. We should not face any sort of challenge during the entire presentation, and that's absolutely correct. So we have more than five like 400 participants, 450 plus participants in fact, who have joined today's session. And I really believe, I really hope that by the end of the session, by the end of 1 hour today, all of us will be in a will be in a state that we should be aware of, that how this how data science industry is changing and how the careers are going to move ahead in the post COVID era. So welcome you all guys once again, and thank you so much for sharing your responses. Just to give you a quick introduction about myself, so I am Akash, as I said, and I lead the marketing at Digital Vidya. I have close to experience of around 6+ years now in edtech and e-commerce market, e-commerce industry. And currently I'm working as a marketing head there, and I'm leading the entire marketing vertical at Digital Vidya. So what is like it is between Digital Vidya and data and NASCOM Future Skills. So Digital Vidya, so if just to I'm just giving an idea about the industry. So if there are a lot of reports that have come out, and according to those reports, there are 25,000 plus positions which are listed for data science on Naukri.com, as well as if you just go on to LinkedIn also, you find more than 14,000 position or openings in the data science domain. So what do you mean by it? The demand for data science, it's huge, it's tremendous. So just to cope up with this particular demand, Digital Vidya has partnered with NASCOM Future Skills to instill a new group of students and professionals in the Indian IT sector on identified skill gaps, and they have identified the skill gaps pertaining to data science and co-developed a set of courses and programs, so that they should be better be able to to understand and could be prepared, could be trained for these sort of positions which are available in the market. So just to give you an understanding of that, how this industry is actually changing, how this industry is actually updating, we have today's webinar in which we have invited V Shekhar Avasti, who is going to let us know, who's going to share his views on that, how these career opportunities, they're gonna up or they're gonna go down, and which particular industry has the most impact, and which particular verticals would have the most impact, which sort of positions would be more created, right? So that we should be able to better understand, and we should be able to better prepare ourselves while we have time, while we are sitting at home. So V Shekhar Avasti, he holds 2 master degrees, one each in marketing management and pure physics. He has over 24 years of experience in advanced analytics and marketing research, a chunk of which has been leading with the leading MNCs in the leadership positions. And he has over 2 dozens of advanced analytics and market research models to his credit. He has also served as a national consultant to United Nations International Development Organization. So and like currently I think he's working on he's a SAS certified predictive modeler, and is an advanced user of R, SAS, Python, IBM SPSS, Veka, and NIME, and other family of tools. So I would like to welcome now enough of my understanding, enough of my my interaction about digital vidya, about NASCOM future skills, about the topic. Now I really want to welcome Shekhar, who's a principal consultant and chief data scientist now, and I want to welcome him to to make us aware of what is the industry scenario right now and how the industry is impacted and how data science positions will be created. So I welcome you, Shekhar. Yeah. So yeah, over to you now.
Good morning. I trust all can hear me. Akash, could you please confirm that you can hear me well?
Absolutely, yes, Shekhar, you are
Great.
clearly audible, and yes, we have a lot of
Uh,
yeses again in the on the questions panel too. Go ahead.
yeah, great. Welcome you all once again. I truly hope that this session would be of great use to you. Towards the end of the session, we'll try to answer as many questions as possible, and therefore I'll try to wrap this up by within next something like 40-ish minutes or something. And I'm going to cover a wide spectrum of things. So what is the current economic scene? All of you know that, so I'll not be spending too much of time on that. But I'll try to explain the entire analytics spectrum, what are the skills needed, and therefore where the opportunities lie. Uh, we'll try to cover, as I said, as many questions as possible. You can keep pushing questions to your chat window to Akash. We'll take it up towards the end of the session. If you look at the current scenario, the current economic scenario has been bad. It really, really needs no explanations. People are losing jobs. There is, organizations are under stress. Uh, Fortunately, this is not the first time that I'm seeing an industry. Of course, this kind of thing was unprecedented, but I had seen the dot-com bubble burst. I had seen the Y2K. I had seen the rise and fall of CRM, SCM, etc. Lot many industries. I had seen churning in different phases. I'd seen at least this would be the fourth serious recession that I would see in my career. The good part about all these churns in economy is that they give you an opportunity to reskill yourself, because every time a churn happens, it gets some new opportunities as well. And the art lies in taking a leverage of those opportunities that come in. So the point is that although we see a lot of news like contractions, etc., point is that we must look at where are the opportunities and what we should be doing to capture or to leverage on those opportunities, and therefore reskill ourselves. And anyways, because most of the attendees are from the IT background, you are aware of the need to reskill yourself perpetually. So what is the current scenario in analytics?
Shekhar, what do you
Despite
think? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what do you think? Like before we go ahead. So yes, like we understand the economic scenario and we know the kind of impact it is going to have on our audiences. Why don't we try to understand our audience better, right? Like who are they? Like we have like more than 560 people who have joined today. Let's
yeah,
try to understand them. Let us try to understand who exactly they are. So guys,
sure.
I have a poll in front of you which will help us to understand what is the background that you have. What you guys need to do is that I'm giving you next 30 seconds and you guys need to fill up your this particular poll. This is a very straightforward question, very straightforward response that we're expecting. You just need to fill up this particular poll and just submit in the end. Also, so I really want, and in fact we really want to keep this session as interactive as possible. So what we have done is that not just this poll, we have kept a range of other polls too, for you to understand, or for you to have a better understanding of the entire, or for so that you can get a better like outcome of this particular session, a value out of this session. So I request you to to please take a quiet place if you haven't taken it, because I really want this session to be interactive. And second, I want 100% participation on all the polls going forward that we will be taking up, so that there should be an interactive session. It should not be a monologue. So last 10 seconds, guys, and I think I'm going to start the countdown at 3. So I can see only 70% people have voted, rest 30% are still there. Quick guys, quickly. So what do you think? What is your profile? So I'm going to share these results with you too, so that you should have an understanding that who are the peers who are sitting along with you today. So last 3 seconds, guys, I'm going to start the countdown with 3, 2, 1, and 0. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for sharing your responses, and I'm sharing the poll with you. So we have close to 69% people who are students in the programming, 10% students in non-technology background, 13% working professionals from the IT and software development, working professionals from sales and marketing and other operations. There are approximately 7%, and already a data analyst or data science, like that's the minimum number that we have. So yeah, that's a great audience, to have an interaction, Shekhar. And yeah, I think I would go back to you again now.
That's very interesting. So in the one of the future slides, I'll also be covering the skills, etc. And the good part is that analytics as a career is meant for anyone who's interested. And there are multiple entry points into this. We just saw what the economic scenario is like. But what is the current analytics scene? Are there any jobs in analytics or something? Now, these are really recent ones, 11.5 million polls, 11.5 million jobs, etc. People are talking. This one, the latest one that you see is June 8, 2020, if you see the date. This particular analysis, and it comes from a fairly reliable source, it says that data and AI skills will witness rise in demand after COVID-19. Why? What analytics does is that it helps you solve your business problems. What analytics does is that it helps you streamline your operations. It helps you bring efficiencies to business processes. For example, if in a bank I'm helping an organization identifying the fraud, I'm bringing in efficiency into it. Because of this, when organizations are in stress due to COVID or whatever, we have seen that immediately after that, there is a rise in consulting, there is a rise in needs for analytics or research or such kind of operations. Why? Because these operations help you in better decision making. So what is analytics? What is the entire spectrum? I know most of you are aware of this. Many of you would be looking at it from different points, but it reminds me of that famous story of, 7 blind men looking at an elephant. So 7 blind men were left along with an elephant, and they were each asked that, okay, what do you perceive of the elephant? How does it appear to you to be? And so the elephant was like this, and what they perceived was like this. So someone who touched the legs of the elephant said it is like a wooden log. Someone who touched the tail said it's like a rope. Someone who touched the trunk said it's like a snake. Unfortunately, in analytics, different people have different definitions. Why? Because it so happens with every nascent industry, with every nascent technology, different people have different interpretations of the same thing. So there is nothing new in this. You would have multiple definitions of analytics, and that is the reason that I'm going to cover the entire spectrum. What are the different sides and shades of analytics? Fortunately, analytics is nothing that is new. So of course there has been a lot of hype in last 7 years or 10 years or something, but analytics is as old as the mankind itself, or perhaps older than that. So you may be surprised at that, but reality is that 5,000 years back or 10,000 years back, when in a jungle, a predator was chasing a prey, the predator was doing some kind of analysis. It was collecting the data that, okay, prey will come to a water hole at this point of time, this will happen, that will happen, and therefore I'll jump at it. If I hide myself in bushes here, it will be a safer place, etc., etc. So whenever you are trying to solve a business problem, you gather data about it and you analyze it scientifically. That is analytics. What has happened in the last 10 years or 15 years is that analytics has become a bit more formal. It was not that people were not doing analytics before that, they were doing, but it was slightly informal. Secondly, data was not available as readily as it is now, thanks to internet. So people express their opinions on Facebook, people express their opinion on various social media platforms, and therefore you get to know what people are thinking, what are they doing. Therefore you are able to tweak your products well, do things better and stuff like that. So 2-3 things have happened. One thing is there is abundance of data that is available. Second thing is computing power has become cheap. 25 years back, when I started my career, entry-level desktop used to be something like 50,000-60,000 rupees, and you'll be surprised to know that the RAM size used to be 8 MB megabytes, 8 MB of RAM. That is the kind of RAM, and it was considered to be an advanced system. That point of time, hard disk used to be 1.2 GB, and it was still 7,000-8,000 rupees or something like that. So the point is that cost of IT has gone down. Computing power is available now. abundance of data is available. Therefore, you can analyze a lot of it with minimal effort. That is the reason that analytics has acquired a formal shape in recent times, in very recent times, if we see. So fundamentally, wherever you are collecting data and you are analyzing it, be it formal, informal, whatever kind of data, you are doing analytics. One thing to be very clear about is that tools, the information technology tools or the software or the programming that you use are just facilitators. They are not analytics by themselves. So you know, if I am doing a particular programming or something, I'm a programmer or something, it's not that I've become uh, I've become become an analyst. Of course, yes, I'm part of the analytics fraternity, but it is just a facilitator. So you end up using multiple tools, you end up using multiple techniques, technologies. In certain contexts, certain tools are better, certain tools are may not be that better, etc. We are going to cover a bit of tools as well. But point is, how do you do that? So to do that, the first thing is that you would be solving a problem. That is why you do analytics. None of the organizations does analytics because they want to do analytics. It's not that I'm in a mood to do analytics, so let's hire a data scientist today. It doesn't happen that way. You have a business objective, you have a business problem at hand. That is why you do analytics. So first step is to identify the pain point or the business objective for any analytics project or for any analytics needs of the organization. Once you identify that, you identify what are the various data available around that. So what is all kinds of data, and the data could broadly be of two kinds. You could have qualitative data and quantitative data. Quantitative data could be structured data, sales data, HR data, and stuff like that. Qualitative data could be your social media data. For example, the emails that customers write to your call center, recordings of the call center, etc. Now, data could also be classified as internal and external. Internal to the organization, external to the organization, the one that you are getting from outside. The beauty is that because you have to deal with multiple kinds of data sets, what you need to do is you need to do wrangling, that is cleansing of data, statistical modeling, mathematical modeling, etc., etc., for which you can use a variety of tools, starting from Excel. Of course, Excel is, you would know, a very crude tool. I mean, but as a starting point, it may not be bad. Julia, 9, Python, R, SAS, etc. List is very long. I have worked on at least a couple of dozen tools, and still I don't believe that I know all the tools. List is extremely long. On the qualitative side, because you're sitting with qualitative data, you do text mining, optical character recognition, speech to text analysis, and therefore, apart from other technologies, OCR and speech to text, of course, you use different technologies. You end up using text modelers or text miners of various kinds, and R has it, Python has a different library, SAS has it, SPSS has it. Depends on the tool that you use. Still, you'll realize that there are gaps somewhere in between, and to fulfill those gaps, you need some data, but the data is not available. To get those gaps, at times you also end up doing market research, and therefore marketing research also becomes part of the analytics gamble. So we are talking of structured data, we are talking of unstructured data, because you are talking of different types of data, you are talking of different types of tools. And to fill up the gaps, the data that is not available, you go and ask people. So you do online surveys or you do pen and paper surveys, and therefore the market research comes into picture. In that sense, that is the complete spectrum of analytics. So you are talking of operations research at times. You may talk of statistical modeling, mathematical modeling, market research techniques, econometrics, psychometrics. Of course, you don't have to be fearful of that, not that you need all these in all the contexts, but depending on the context, you may need some of these, a combination of these techniques. So what are the skills that are needed for a successful analytics professional? If you look at this Venn diagram, broadly, this is not my diagram. This has come from, I picked it up from social media, but I found it to be very interesting. Broadly, you need 4 skills. You need communication. Communication skills means that you need to understand the business problem in the lingo or in the language that the business talks or business speaks. So you need to understand that. You have to talk to the client. So if you have ever been to a doctor, doctor doesn't tell you the nuances of your knee or the nuances of how bacteria or virus work or whatever. They ask you very simple questions. Is there a pain here? If I press it, what happens? Do you feel fatigued in the morning? Do you feel fatigued in the evening, etc., etc.? That is communication skill, to be able to understand your problem in their own, in your own language. So that is communication. To be able to solve the problem or to be able to convert this problem to a data problem, what you need is the business understanding, the extreme right of it. Business understanding means you need to understand the definitions of the data that is available. You need to know what is available, what is not available, what is the quality of data that is available. Do you need to do market research, etc., etc. So you need to know a lot many things. That is the business side of it. Once you have collected all the data, you need to know the theoretical foundations of it. And theoretical foundations means that you need to know this bit, which is statistics, which also includes mathematics, statistics, operations research. Depending on the context, this skill will change. If you are doing pure play text mining, you may need something else here. You may need to know natural language processing, NLP, and stuff like that. Now, because you cannot handle all this data manually, therefore you need to know to use a particular, at least one tool, if not all. And that is where programming comes into play. So in that sense, the complete spectrum needs at least 4 skills, which is communication, the theoretical understanding of stats, maths, OR, etc., depending on whatever you are doing, programming, and business. Now, communication is something that you develop on your own. Business is something that you gain or do study while doing or while doing the projects or while working on your own. Programming and statistics is something that you learn. Passion is the underlying thing, you know, a passion and scientific temperament is something that you need for sure. Now, because chunk of you, many of you come from programming background, of course you can't and you should not attempt to learn at all the tools. And I'll tell you why I personally suggest learning Python. Uh, because many of you would be coming from the statistics side, so they need to learn a bit of programming. Those coming from programming side may need to learn a bit of, at least, you know, the elementary concepts of statistics and so on and so forth. So depending on the stream that you are coming from, some of you may be coming from the sales or marketing side of it, which means that you have a great sense of business and a great sense of communication, and you may need to pay a bit of attention to statistics and the programming side of it. But depending on the kind of problems that you intend to solve, depending on where you are coming from, you need to complement yourself with one, two, or three of these skills. This is the most important aspect of understanding in terms of making your career in data science. Of course, if you have any
So
questions, etc., you can, yeah,
So I
please.
think Shekhar, before we go ahead now, before we go ahead, I think this one thing is really relevant at this point of time to understand our audience, in a better way. That if we have, say for example, now we have very in, we have focused on very crucial aspects of our, like what are the skill sets that are required. Passion is one
Yeah.
important thing, right? For people who haven't been who do not have a programming or a or a development background, like now how what sort of skills that they need in this case, right? So I would really want to understand from our people now that, so if they have to develop those skills, if they want to if they want to if they want to develop those programming skills specifically, like say for example into data science or data analytics, what is their preferred way of doing it? So again, guys, there is a question in front of you which says that if you have to learn this skill set, if you have to learn the skill set of data science and analytics, what do you think? What would be your what would be your preferred way of learning data science analytics? Would you go for a full-time course and you want to do it on your own, which is a self-paced kind of a learning module in which you just go ahead, you just take up the course and learn it on yourself? If you're very confident about that, you can do everything by yourself, you don't need any sort of hand holding, this would be the option. If you need a hand holding with a with in which a trainer would come, it will it will give you a dedicated process, it will tell you this is the next step, this is this is not the next step, and this is the way forward. So that will second option would be relevant. If you are interested in learning but you do not need a course at all, you can just go on the blogs. You are in that stage of your career that you can just go on the blogs and you can learn from there only. You don't need any sort of structured course for that. So that third would be a better option for you. However, yes, we have options for people who even do not want to learn data science or analytics at all. So fourth would be a relevant option for those. So 50% people have voted, guys, and I don't want to like put more time onto this to get the data around all these polls, but the idea is to just to get an understanding. So I would highly recommend people who are still interested and they want to fill up, they just quickly tap on your choices, and so that we can move ahead. And I can see in the questions panel that there are a few people who are still not able to click on or submit their polls. What they can do is they can they can just submit their answers in the questions panel too. So just mark it for two, for say for example this question is second question and you want to like answer the fourth point. So what you can do is 2.4 is something which you can answer in the questions panel too. So that would be an easy option too if you are not able to submit the poll. But I would highly recommend, if you're able to submit the poll, just fill up your answers in the poll only. So last 10 seconds, guys, if you are I would really recommend everyone to to share this understanding. And there is further another quick poll that I have. I really want to understand my audience better, so that we should be able to take up the question answers in a very detailed manner. So next question, I'm gonna give you last 3 seconds to fill up this poll, guys, and the countdown starts like 3, 2, 1. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you for sharing your responses. And the next part that I want to understand from you guys now is, so you have now about that, yes, there is some sort of a skills which are required. Shekhar has just let us know about the communication skills, the statistics, the programming and everything, and the business skills also, right? What is your objective? So we have more than students, 70% of the students from the programming background today. What is your objective of of acquiring data science or data analytics skills? So that is my third question to you, and I want to understand from you guys, what is your objective? You want to start your career in data science? You're already into some sort of a data science domain, but you're looking for a new switch. You want to switch to a new profile, or you're looking for a better profile, right? Would you like to switch would like to switch to shift to a data science domain or profile at all? Like you're already into some other domain. Say let's take the case, we have I think 10% people who were into the sales and marketing profiles or any of the professionals. So they wanted to shift to a data science, but they are right now doing something else. So they can choose the third option. And if you're planning to set up or scale your business, so fourth would be the option for you. So quickly, guys, again, the options would be, if you are not able to fill up the polls, you can again type in your responses with 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, or 3.4 as your respective choices. Okay. So again, I think I can only see 60% people who have voted. I want 100% of the participation in these polls, because this will help us to better understand you. And in the last 30 or 40 no sorry in the last 15 or 20 minutes which we have for us, I want to take up each and every query who want to understand like data science in a better way. So that is something which I'm really looking forward to. 70% people have voted, and I'm giving you last 5 seconds to answer this poll. So quickly, guys, who haven't answered it till yet, quick. So last 3 seconds, guys, and you guys know the drill by now. So I'm starting the poll by 3, 2, 1 and 0. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for sharing your responses. And I think now I'm gonna go back to Shekhar, and I think the polls that we have, the results that we have, basis on this, we're gonna take up the question, and we're gonna take up our next session, our next our the session going forward would be in that direction only. So over to Shekhar now again.
Okay, so good part is that, as I said earlier as well, that irrespective of where you're coming from, so long as you are passionate about it, and so long as you have a scientific temperament, you can enter into analytics domain from different sides. Beauty is, of course, one of the caveats is that if you are entering from a hardcore non-programming, non-statistic side, you might have to do a bit more of effort. If you're coming from programming side, you might have to do an effort in terms of statistics and communication and business and so on and so forth. But the good part is that irrespective of where you are coming from, you are welcome in the domain. Of course, as I said, you have to put a stress on certain aspects of it, depending on your context and your background. right? So what will be the analytics salaries and stuff? We are seeing, we are hearing a lot of things that, there is a salary cut in there, so many people have been hired, etc., etc. But I think at the start of this session, somewhere we did say that there are thousands and thousands of openings that exist. In fact, I was looking at one of the job sites about a couple of days, 3 days back to be precise, and I realized that there are still, 7,000 openings at different levels in different domains that had been posted in last 1 month, which means that people are really looking for people. Of course, there are some organizations where you will hear that, when they are closing down and when they are firing, some of them also have fired analytics people, but then for them to find a job elsewhere should not be that big an issue. So what is the post-COVID area likely to be? Now, this entire thing was refreshed last in February 2020. Recently, there is an update that we are working on, and it should ideally come in about week to 10 days time, and that looks rosier than this. But at the moment, this is the official figure of the last update. And the last update was that you can see across geographies, etc., mean median salaries of data scientists of various roles in data science, from a data architect to a data engineer to a full stack data scientist. The salaries are way higher than the comparable salaries with comparable experience and expertise. And this is across geographies. You can see France, UK, Switzerland, Netherlands, Germany, etc. here. Intentionally, we had not put US and stuff. When we ask that, what is the primary modeling and coding language, this one is very interesting. The first graph that you see on the left hand side, the primary modeling and coding language that people preferred was Python. Why? Because it is easy to use. It is, very easy to adapt. Many of you would anyways be working on Python, of course, on different libraries, etc. So, you just need to understand the statistics skills and use different libraries such as NumPy, SciPy, Pandas, etc. And then you are on the go. But please understand that it is a combination. If you only know coding, you become a coder. Of course, coders are also needed. If you know only statistics, you become a statistician. If you know both, plus communication and business, it is then that you become a data scientist. So please understand that depending on which context, which side you are coming from, and what is your intent, what are you looking at, that dictates what you should expect and where you should put in an effort, stuff like that. The various job roles, I'm often asked that, what are the various job roles? We get confused. Now, the point is that, to be honest, there is no hard and fast industry-wide standard that is available or applicable to all. So it is not really the case. However, the various job roles that are available, part of them are on the IT perspective. Remember, we said that IT is the facilitator. IT facilitates, or IT helps you do the analysis. And therefore, when you are doing extraction, transformation, loading, or ETL of data, you need a data engineer. He's a guy who's primarily from the IT background. He extracts it, transforms it, makes it ready. He does cleansing. He prepares the data. He does mining, warehousing, etc., etc. Now, this guy, of course, you can't do anything unless you have the data, right? So it's very important. In fact, all the roles are important. If you're talking of big data, from the IT perspective, you have big data engineer who would manage the Hadoop clusters or would do. So this is hardcore technical side of it. You might need an AI engineer as well. You might need a machine, depending on the project, of course. You might need a data architect who would design the data, who would know what is flowing from where, etc., etc. There is another side of it, which is statistical perspective. So if you are only focused on coding, etc., you are kind of in that thing, but you are not a data scientist. You are more on the engineering side of it. Depending on your interest, you might look at trying to get to the business, to the data scientist side of it. This is from the statistical perspective. You need to know the theoretical statistics, mathematics, OR, not all of them, depending on the context, some of them, but the statistics is used quite often. You need to understand artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. If you're doing text analytics, you need to understand the theory behind natural language processing. If you know all this, then you become a data scientist. So as I said, there are two sides of it. One is the IT perspective, one is the statistical perspective. Mix the two, you become a kind of a data scientist. That is the perspective from me, from my end. I think, Akash, we have some of the polls as well, and that leaves us with good 25 minutes or so for question answer sessions. So if you want to put up any sessions, or if you want me to take you through any other slide, etc., please let me know.
Sure, Shekhar, that makes sense, and I think we've been able to to cover quite a brief around data science. And though I really wanted this session to be really interactive, as I'm saying from the starting, so I really want all the people to come up to us and like share your queries. And I think there are a couple of queries which I have noted, which I have figured out
Yeah, please.
for the participants who have joined. So for all for most of the college students, there are a very basic question that that people really want to understand, and they say that how they can how they can start their careers in data science, or maybe down the line, once they start it, how they can pursue their careers in data science. I think from the student point of view, this is a very valid question. So yeah, I would
Yes.
really want Shekhar to take that up for all of us.
Look, nowadays you have money resources available, etc. But Akash, reality is that I've been doing this for about 24 years now. Reality is that you can't get everything in a structured way at one place, and B, self-discipline is a problem. Procrastination is something that all of us do. At least I used to do
Absolutely.
that in my student days. So what I suggest is that you start up with a formal structured course in data science, and ideally your course should have two aspects to it. It should cover one tool. This tool could be anything, preferably Python or R. Why? Because they are open source, available to all. B, they are very easy, particularly Python is very easy. So I strongly suggest looking at least one tool from these, and a course that includes statistics concepts, statistical concepts as well. When you are doing this course, what also happens is that you must ensure that you are self-disciplined. That is, you follow the course. I mean, no course can, even in a classroom kind of a session, no one can really literally force you to enter the classroom. Many of us would
Hmm.
have bunked classes at different points of time, right? So if you are self-disciplined, I think it makes the first good step is to take at least one analytics 101 kind of a course, which teaches you concepts of artificial intelligence, which teaches you concepts of machine learning, and also the tool, plus some practical examples and expertise exposures, etc. So this is what is ideally recommended. Once you do that course, you would know that where your interest lies and where your passion lies, and thereafter you are free to take it to whatever direction. You might say that, okay, I want to be on the IT side of it, and you take the
Hmm.
IT route. You might say that I want to be on the data scientist side of it, and you may take that route. Now that depends, but first step, you must take a formal structured course.
Okay. And like I think there is one more query which is very very common amongst the people, and it says, so I think there are some sort of prerequisites which are required, right, to become a data scientist. I think we have tried to cover up a bit of it in the during the presentation too. However, if anybody wants to start a career, or maybe what are the prerequisites, are there any sort of prerequisites apart from, of course, the kind of passion and the skills that we need? Apart from those, like, is there any other prerequisite in terms of your engineering degree or anything that is required and which would be useful for them once they start their career in data science?
Fortunately, there are no prerequisites, so to say. Of course, someone who's absolutely averse to mathematics should not come and try his or her hand at this, because you need
Hmm.
some mathematical background. When I say some mathematical background, it doesn't really mean a degree or something, mathematics at 12th standard or something. But yes, if you are at least till 12th standard, if you have studied mathematics, that is great. So you need to have some mathematical inclination. You need to be open, but very fortunately, all these skills, communication, no one can teach you. You learn on your own. Business side of it, you acquire that skill while working, right? it becomes statistics and programming, two things that you learn formally in a formal kind of a setup. Now, this statistics, what we are talking about is not, very high-end PhD level statistics. Of course, if it is there, it helps you. But we are talking of course, it is not 10th or 12th standard statistics as well. And programming. Now, if you're coming from a non-programming background, of course, you'll have to put in slightly more hard work and you have to be persistent in learning whatever whatever tool you decide to use. But it is not impossible to do. So fundamentally, wherever you are coming from, whichever background you are coming from, so long as you have a logical mental makeup and so long as you have an inclination, you are not at least averse to mathematics. Mathematics doesn't make you run away. You are welcome from any stream. So practically, of course, yes, if you're from a completely non-programming and non-statistical background, your effort would go up for sure, because you have to learn the basics of programming and Python or R, whatever you're learning. If you're coming from a completely non-statistics background, there your effort goes up. If you have a sense of both of them, your effort goes down. But there is no bar on anyone else. I'll just share one interesting, and this is a real life case. 10 years, 15 years back, there used to be a lady who was a simple graduate in literature, and she used to work as executive assistant to one of the CXOs in the companies that I was working for. And about 6 or 7 months, but she was very, open-minded kinds. At the age of 47, Akash, and this is the reality. 47, she got married and she had to leave her job and everything else, and she had a lot of time with her. At the age of 47, she's called me and she said, "Boss, this interests me. Can I learn this?" I said, "Of course you can learn this." And she enrolled in one of the courses. 3 days, 4 days back, she called me and she said that, "You know what, Shekhar, I landed up in a job, but it's not only the job that I need. What is important is that I never knew that at the age of 47, I could start afresh and learn this." The good part is that this lady had a mathematical kind of a background as in she was a mathematically oriented person. But a degree in literature, 20 years you are not doing anything, and then you jump into this, that was strange. So I think that should answer most of the questions around this.
Great, great. Absolutely. In fact, I think, yeah. So, for people, like, there is no specific age bar, to start your learning around data science. And since, it has been, or it is in fact, becoming the future, right? Like everything is being picked up around data, right? Like everything is picked up around data analytics. So, I mean, it has become necessity, for all the people. And for people, I think, for all the people who have joined in our today's session, I would say, like 70% of the people, or they are actually from the students, and who are in fact, they are about to start their careers. For all of them, I think, the way you have suggested that, there is no specific prerequisite is required. Of course, if you have liking towards physics, liking towards not just physics, but yeah, liking towards mathematics, or just to have
Engineering,
an
for
analytical
example,
background.
if
Exactly,
you are
exactly,
from
exactly.
engineering kind of a discipline, it is a big plus for sure because you have that mathematical inclination.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, most of them, they really want to start in a way that, yes, that absolutely everyone is understanding this fact that, for any sort of development, any sort of new, learning that they want to take, if they if they can take up in a structured way, probably, inside of a course, or maybe, with the help of an instructor, that really helps, all of them. And that
Yes.
really helps to get that knowledge as soon as possible, in fact, right? Instead
So
of,
it's like this,
wasting.
Akash. If I have to take an IT entrance examination on my own, maybe I'll succeed, but chances are relatively less, and I might have to work extremely hard. If I have someone who coaches me, I would my chances increase many folds. So it's like this, if you are if you're participating in Olympics, I have never heard of an athlete who didn't have a coach. So you need
Oh, okay.
someone to coach you and to train you, and that is where it helps.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. So I think, there is one common query, which is, I think, which we have taken up, which we have just given it an overview. But what do you think? So there are a lot of tools, there are a lot of, languages in the market for all, which people really want to understand and really want to take up, but they're confused in a way which one to take up now and which one, to take up maybe down the line 3 years, maybe down the line 2 years. So a lot of people have asked in the poll today, like I think Mayur have asked, Alka, and I think Ishani, there are Malini, Meenakshi. A lot of people have asked around a question around this only, that they want to understand uh, which is the language? Like, should we go for Python? Should we go for Excel course only, or should we just go for some sort of SAS, or like R programming? Which is this particular language which is relevant for all, for like, let's say like 70% of the audiences today who are in the who are in the session right now, and in fact of course the audiences, or people who really want to start their careers. Which is that particular language which the people should learn as of now?
A very intelligent and a very tough to answer question, but I'll attempt. Excel does extremely low level jobs. So Excel, I don't even, of course, when you have tables prepared and all, and you are taking it to a PowerPoint or something, it is there that we use Excel. But Excel does extremely low level analytics. Excel, we don't really count as I mean, we as in my organization at our end, we don't really count. It is just a facilitator. It is a hygiene factor that you must have it, right? So, of course, you must know Excel, but by Excel, if you think that you'll make a career in analytics, looks very, very unlikely to me. Now comes the rest of the languages. The point is that if you're trying to learn statistics or mathematical modeling and the concepts of programming simultaneously, things become extremely, extremely difficult for you. It's like this: I want to go from my home to airport. I can go in a Maruti 800 or an Alto. I can go in a Merc. I can go in a Metro. I can go in anything. Everything will lead me there, right? So different tools or different languages are like that. Any languages or any programming language would be able to do 80-90% of the jobs that you want to do, maybe 100% at times. But none of them is a complete end-to-end thing. You will get stuck at 1-2% or 5% of, depending on the kind of job that you're doing, right? So first thing, don't try to, particularly the freshers, don't attempt to learn all the programming languages simultaneously. That is one. Because you are doing statistics and programming together, and statistics will anyway take a decent amount of time of yours, look at a programming language that is relatively easier to learn, where the learning curve is not that steep. Thirdly, your programming language choice should be one which is widely accepted or which is widely needed by the industry. And Python fits the bill in both these cases. A, it is relatively easier to learn. B, as I showed in a previous graph, in one of the graphs, here if you see, it is the most preferred language by the data analyst community. If you see the graphs, the bar, the horizontal graphs on the side, Python is the most preferred language, and this was a relatively recent poll. So because that also helps you in saving your bandwidth, in saving your time to learn the concepts of statistics or the theoretical side of it, or mathematics and stuff like that. Now, once you are done with Python, and tomorrow there is an opportunity which specifically says that you must be trained in R or SAS or this or that. Now that your statistical side is taken care of, your basics of programming are in place, you know how to interpret data and all that stuff, you know how to derive a meaning of a table and all that stuff. Now what happens is that learning a second tool or the third tool would not take you more than a week or at best a couple of weeks. It is just, being able to adjust yourself to a new syntax, right? So it's in my view, you should look at a programming. If you already know Python, you should definitely stay at Python at the moment. Focus on the statistical concepts of it. If you don't know any programming language, take the Python route. Why? Because it will be easier for you to learn. And then focus on statistics, do a combination, you'll be there. If you are absolutely efficient on Python and you are looking at some other programming language, then maybe you could consider R followed by SAS if you are too passionate. But I strongly advise people not to try their hand at too many programming languages simultaneously. So I'll cite an instance. I was myself working on a particular project, and for half an hour I was not able to. It would always give me a syntax error. What I was doing was that in an R console, I was repeatedly trying a SAS code, and obviously, it will not get executed. I was thinking everything is right. Why is it not getting executed? And then a colleague of mine said, "What are you doing?" That is what happens when you try your hand at multiple languages simultaneously. Yeah. So I hope that should clarify. In a nutshell, Start with Python. Once you are done with Python, then consider anything else. And don't get confused with multiple things simultaneously. Yeah.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense, Shekhar. And I think now, I am pretty sure, while people are, they are planning to do some sort of courses, or, they are planning to explore data science or to learn data science as suggested by you too. I'm pretty sure they must have, some sort of top considerations in their mind. Like what is the top consideration that, okay, so I need a reputed institute. I need, some sort of hands-on practical experience. I need, some sort of certificates, which should back up me. Of course, money would be definitely be constant, like, in terms of what is the course fee and everything. So I mean, I really want you to understand this question from our audience now, that if you had to choose a course, let's take the case, what would be your top considerations in choosing a data science or data analytics course? What would be your, like, first? So yeah, this is a multiple choice option, you can submit multiple options too, but yeah, I mean, you just need to like let me know that what is your top consideration. What do you think? This is the, this is the bottleneck, guys, which I really understand. I would highly recommend, just top two considerations only. I don't want you to, to like everyone to fill up all the options. So please be, please be cautious about it, that whatever the options or whatever the choices that you do, just make two, because so that, we should be able to understand that yes, this is, the top consideration while you are, while you are choosing, or while you are choosing a course. So while people are also doing that, I want, Shekhar to take another question, which says, so what are the opportunities? So I think we have been trying to cover this question in the entire presentation though, but what are these sort of opportunities in data science for students versus for working professionals? Let's take the case who have an experience of 2 years in the industry. So what is that particular, set of opportunities which are available? So this is, another question which a lot of people have asked me.
Look, practically every organization, please understand one thing. It is not only a fresher trying to look at an opportunity and, fresher being desperate for a job. The organizations are also equally desperate to hire people. And I'm telling you the truth.
Correct.
So we rarely find properly trained, properly, employable people, or people who are willing to learn, right? So it is a both-way street. Opportunities are many, just that when you are starting this, the option for your course should be more on the side of the content. The content of the course that you are taking should be such that it is very close to the practical, realistic aspects of the industry and the needs of the industry. The course should give you flexibility, because you may need to put in more attempt on statistics or programming. The course should teach you both the things simultaneously. So you should look at the course in that way. Opportunities are many. As I said, one of the job portals had about 7,000, and I was surprised. 7,000 in this particular time. I was absolutely surprised. Opportunities are many. They are at all the levels. So it is, and of course, you need more people at the bottom of the pyramid. So there are opportunities for freshers as well. The problem is that freshers typically try to take the prospective employer, right, by citing things which they have not really done. That is where the problem is. So if you are honest about what you are saying or what you are doing, opportunities are in abundance. Don't worry about that. Unfortunately, I can't qualify them. Why? Because it is such a dynamic world and opportunities keep changing. I've seen changes happening in last 10 months or 12 months, at least 2 times. So they keep
Correct.
changing, and by the time you would have learned analytics and you would become a qualified professional and stuff, quite honestly, no one can predict what kind of opportunities would be there. But the way it is exploding, opportunities would be there across.
Absolutely. So I think, based on that only, I think, and a lot of people have already voted. So I'm just closing this poll now, and
Yeah.
I'm moving to the next part, which is, I think, considering a lot of people have asked me, like, what is. So I think you have suggested a course, right, Shekhar? So what is that particular course that we can take up? So we at Digital Vidya, as I've said, as I've mentioned initially also, yeah, that that the kind of opportunities that we have, or the kind of programs that Digital Vidya and NASCOM Future Skills has come together to, to understand the skill set, to understand the gaps that, that are there in the industry. So those gaps are being understood, so that, we should be able to, to figure out a course, to figure out a program that could enhance those skill sets and make those job availabilities easier for all the people who are actually looking forward to those opportunities. And hence we have developed a course at Digital Vidya. What we have done is we have developed a course which is again, which is available in the self-paced, as well as, I mean, self-paced, by self-paced I mean that you can do this course on your own, as well as we have done this, we have created this course which is again, in the instructor led format, where an instructor would be there who would be taking everything, and everything in detail, and giving you the entire or taking you through the entire duration of the program. So at Digital Vidya, what we have is we have like these two program URLs, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the URL of this particular course page with you. What you can do is you can just review this course page at your end, guys, all of you. And if you have any queries, what you can do is I am gonna share an email ID with you, and if you have any queries, you can come back to us on this particular page, on this particular query. And what you can also do is you can submit your information on these particular pages if you're really interested in in taking up any further course. So you can submit your information on this page, and one of the training counselors of us of Digital Vidya would come back to you, and he or she can share your information. So however, we have, so as I said, NASSCOM Future Skills and Digital Vidya, we have co-partnered. We understood what is the requirement in the industry, what they need, what are the skill sets that they need. And of course, we have like expertise like Shekhar, who are ready to to help us around like what is going on in the industry, and accordingly we have developed a course for that case. So Priya, this course is not for free. This is a paid course, but it is available in two different modules. And what you can do is you can you can just go through your you can just go through this this entire page, and whatever you can do is you can just you can share your information with all the with our training partners, and they can they can just get back to you on this. So what I'm doing is I'm just sharing the email ID with all of you now, where you can get back to us, where you can share your information with us. And this email ID is, would be available in your chat boxes now. And considering like, so we have already reached towards the end of the session now, so I'm going to take last two questions, Shekhar. And again, guys, if we are not able to answer your question, if you're not able to answer your query, what you can do is you can again come back to us on this particular email ID which I've shared with you. It should be in your chat box. I've shared this email ID with everyone now. Okay, so I think if it is not there, let me just share it again with you.
And then you can take the last couple of questions.
Yeah, that definitely. I'm just doing that. So I think the next question, I think, which is very, what are the kind of tools are basically which which people are asking, what are the kind of tools that they can explore at this particular stage, or maybe down the line, like 2 or 3 years, what are the tools that they can start with? So languages is one part, or in data analytics, if they have to start, data science they have to start, what are the tools that they can explore? That is
So
one
you
other
can,
question.
I'm not really sure what do you mean by the tools, because all the languages and all the packages, all of them are the tools that you use. Maybe they're talking of tools which come as a package tool, such as SAS or SPSS. Well, you can use them as well. There is, but just that they are prohibitively expensive, and that is why organizations, and plus availability of trained manpower, etc., becomes an issue. Therefore, organizations are typically moving away from that to things such as Python and R. I see one interesting question about algorithms. Do you want to take up? Do you want me to take
Yeah, we
that
can
up?
take that. Yeah, definitely. This was my last question actually.
Oh, one very quick thing, last 2 minutes. Algorithms are in machine learning. The various techniques that you see that you use are the algorithms. So, say for example, what is machine learning? Machine learning is wherever you learn from historical data. So, if a child learns that every time I cry and I'll get milk, he's doing machine learning. 2 or 3, 4 times he cries, gets milk. Thereafter, he knows, I cry, I get milk. Machine learning. Very simplistically put. When you're talking of machine learning, statistical techniques such as regression, wherein using past data, you are able to predict what is likely to happen. That is a machine learning algorithm. Decision tree, random forest. So basically, when we talk of machine learning algorithms, chunk of them, practically all of them, they flow from these statistical concepts, right? So you have decision tree, you have random forest, you have things such as multiple kinds of regressions. Broadly, that is, these are what are referred as machine learning algorithms. It is not that machine will learn on its own. Of course, unsupervised learning also happens, but chunk of the time it needs some manual intervention. That is where your understanding of the statistics comes into play. Akash, anything else? I think we are towards the end of this. Any closing
Yes.
comments
So
or
I think,
something?
yeah, so I think we've been able to, to cover the entire pace, entire program till now. As I said, guys, one thing is that you will definitely be getting the recording of the session, post this. So you need not worry if you have missed anything, you can revisit it again and, you can just do it again. Next, what I want to, cover now is that I really want to, in the next 1 minute, I just want to give you a brief about the Digital Vidya course and, like what is, there with us. And my closing comments would come around like if you want to like get in touch with us, get in touch for any sort of course if you need. So yes, you can get back to us as on the links that I've shared. You can go and find out your responses. And of course, if you have any queries going further, going post this, what you can do is you can again get back to us on the email ID which I've shared, which is kapil.nakra@digitalvidya.com. So this is majorly this is majorly around around the session today. And I think we've been able to cover a lot of queries. I know we haven't been able to to pick up a lot of queries, I mean, due to the time constraint we have. However, as I said, you can get back to us on the email IDs. So great, guys, thank you so much, thank you so much for sharing your like time and taking out time for today's session. I really appreciate, and I really thank you, Shekhar, also for taking out time for for enlightening us on the next point of data science, and how careers are actually going to impact on data science today.
I
So thank you
thank
so
all
much,
of you
guys, and
for your time. I would like to wish all of you very best of luck in your future endeavors in taking your next steps towards data science. Best wishes to all of you. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
thank you so much, Shekhar, and thank you for host for for coming online to sharing your responses. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys, and we are officially closing our webinar now. So yeah, good day. Have a good day ahead. Bye bye.